Hello, hello, welcome back to the commentary booth here at the After Hours Gaming League. I am Day 9.
And I'm Husky Man.
Are you as pumped as I am, Husky?
Sean, I don't know if anyone can be as pumped as you, but I am super amped. There's a lot of people here. It's exciting stuff, and I'm always pumped for StarCraft. How about you, Sean?
Dude, I am so ready. Now, in the AHGL, it is members from those top 8 tech companies forming together, doing all the practicing throughout the season. Once again, these are not your top grandmasters. These are gamers just like you and me duking it out.
Professional nerds, Sean.
Professional nerds, full-time people who just love the game. And it looks like the crowd got together to collectively hush because we just want a moment of silence before we jump directly into the third, fourth place match.
Ooh, let's do it.
Amazon versus Google. Now, the first competitor will be Tyr from Team Google against Guy with Name from Team Amazon. They will be duking it out on Xelnog Caverns. It's going to be a little ZVP action. What are your thoughts on how Game 1's going to be going?
Well, I'm very happy to see a Protoss, Sean. Me and you have been casting out games together. Not many Protoss there, so I don't know quite what to expect. But as you mentioned, third, fourth place match, so this should be pretty good.
Is indeed true. I mean, these teams both went 5 and 2, been showing a lot of really promising play. A lot of players in that top Diamond, or even low Masters League.
Yeah.
And as we just take a gander directly into game number 1, it's going to be beginning on Xelnog Caverns. Tyr, who I many a time said is Tyr. His actually name is Tyr, but you know what? I like having as many syllables as possible. And in the bottom left, there's a Guy with Name. And look at them. Look at the friendliness and the manner, Husky.
They are being so polite here, Sean. So, you know what, Sean? I want the audience here. This is our very first game. Can we make a little bit of noise for the very first game of tonight? They got their broomsticks, Sean. And absolutely outstanding. So, Sean, as a huge fan, I'm so stoked that I got these 2 boomsticks. They are very fashionable.
I will say, indeed, and they are remarkably loud. I wonder,
Yeah.
because this is normally a room used for meetings and basic presentations, likely, and something like PowerPoint, but all of a sudden, thundersticks going off, people are just probably getting very, very, very excited.
Looks like they're continuing the friendly banter here. Tyr says that he uses a computer at Google.
One of the best professions to do at Google.
I feel like most people here are going to be familiar with it. Guy with Name saying that is pretty high-tech stuff.
Indeed, there are very few Amish people in the tech industry.
Yeah, it is not very booming there. So, Sean, any thoughts about PvZ on this map?
Well, we do see that there's that very early pool going down by Tyr. It looks like Tyr's coding on paper is slow indeed. Google has stepped past the regular punch machine for doing their software. Guy with Name now planting that gateway at the front, and you know, it wouldn't be a Day 9 production if it weren't for checking to make sure your friends list is on busy, indeed.
And thankfully you're able to cover that.
And the sound's even on as well. I'm delighted.
God, Sean, you have really pulled something special together here.
2 for 2.
Awesome. So the drone is going to be scouting out here, and do you have any thoughts about, it looks like he's most likely going to be doing some sort of 3-gate expands. What do you think as opposed to the Forge expand here, Sean?
Well, you know, it's always very, very difficult to cover the amount of space that we do have on Xelnog Caverns, so Tyr gonna sneak up that ramp, see everything that he expects, and if he wants to be a particularly devious drone, he will indeed steal that gas.
Yeah.
Oh, and the treachery at the natural expansion, Husky. He's stolen a pylon.
Yeah, he's taken it all the way back. Unfortunately, placed it in the most annoying spot for him, which is outside of his own natural there. He's gonna delay that expansion as much as possible. However, since he did get that spawning pool first, he will be able to clean that up quite easily. Looks like the drone, instead of gonna steal the gas, he's going to attempt to block the Cybernetics core. As a Protoss player, I am pulling out my own teeth right now, but it does look like the second probe is going to deal with it and puts down the Cybernetics core as that drone skirts on home.
Pairlings now working down that very first pylon, and oh, look at this. It looks like the Zerg player from Team Google may successfully eliminate the pylon at his ramp, and
he goes down!
Unbelievable.
Was not able to salvage that because, well, he's not Terran. So that's exactly what happened there, Sean. And the hatchery going down, that wasn't too heavily delayed.
Yeah, you know, that wasn't the biggest delay in the world. Zerg already feeling very, very comfortable. And, you know, I will admit, every time I play Zerg and I get pylon blocked, I always feel that big sigh of triumph. When I finally eliminate that pylon, it's like, yeah, you thought you blocked my hatch? Nerd.
All right, so the gas is going down right now, Sean. Is this gas timing going to be okay here for what he's going up against?
Well, looks like he's going to have to get the Zergling speed up early, and oh, he just marches right up into the ramp, and there's a Zell here. Oh, I'm late for work. I slept in. Oh, no, the Zergling's now working down on those probes at the extractor. And guy with name really does not want to pull off any more Zealots from the front. And these two Zerglings are actually doing a tremendous amount of damage, Husky.
This is very frustrating because if he moves that Zealot, Sean, then more Zerglings could easily stream in there. He does not know that no Zealots are, or no Zerglings are on the way, rather. Now it has been whittled down to just one single Zergling, which shouldn't be able to kill one remaining probe, as two probes can take that out quite easily. However, he is going to see exactly what's going down, which is going to be the one gateway. And we'll see if he's going to throw down a third gateway for the pretty standard Protoss 3-gate expand.
Tier from Team Google being spot on with those larva injects, now making that second queen. Natural expansion has just finished up in the main base of guy with name, looking decently good in terms of recovery, getting a little bit supply blocked there, needs to build himself an extra gateway. Now, if I have money built up, I'll just expand.
Go ahead and expand. With Sean, a Nexus is a pylon. It just takes much longer to get you that supply there. So he does have the pylon going down on the low ground. So obviously he's going to be expanding off of this. Now, the one thing he has to watch out for, since he only has two gateways, is that a lot of early pressure from a Zerg player can be hard to hold off if he doesn't have the sentry count that he needs. You can see right there that he only has one sentry, and a Zealot production tab shows a Chrono boosted out sentry. So it's always a threat as a Protoss. It can be very tempting to take it before that third gate is done. If he can get away with it, though, he'll be ahead of where he normally would be.
Third queen out for Tyr. Excuse me, Tyr. I'm going to be mispronouncing his name all night, Husky.
Just do it all night, man.
Great way to start off the evening. We also see the forge being planted by guy with name. And as you were saying earlier, Husky, a Zerg can go all in at any time, especially as we have seen in the AHGL. Tyr now walking forward with a lot of Zerglings, going to try to do a little bit of space control. He's going to count those sentries up. Will he get the probe? And he takes it down.
Yeah, that was at the cost of three Zerglings. He's scurrying on out of there with 2 HP remaining. However, he has done a little bit of damage to the Zerg army, so it's going to be more difficult if he decides to run in there. And Sean, we're just seeing the Roach Warren go down, and only 8 more Zerglings on the way. I don't know if we're going to be seeing any sort of all-in or anything like that, because at this point, the Protoss player, his expansion just now finished. He's throwing down those cannons, which is pretty common for a Protoss player to throw down a cannon or two at the expansion. Just going to be playing it safe here. Now, he will be vulnerable to Roaches on the right side of his expansion, simply because, as you were mentioning earlier, Sean, this expansion is so difficult to defend with just 1 or 2 cannons.
Yeah, on Xel'Naga Caverns, Blizzard just puts the expansion in giant open fields.
Right.
So there's no way you can possibly defend it. There's an entrance here, and there's a back door, and they put a fourth one over here with some rocks there. They literally want you to die very quickly on this map, and it looks like that's what Tyr's intending to do, Husky. 8 Roaches in production.
The Zerglings trying to peek down there as well. Are they going to make a run by into the main? Are they going to attempt to kill those probes? Yeah, it was able to save those. One Zergling did get stuck, and he was able to back out there in time. No severe losses there. Another cannon. But you mentioned, Sean, those 8 Roaches. I'm not seeing a whole lot from a Protoss player that is very good against Zergling Roach right now. So he's going to make sure to get those warp gates finished right now. He does have 3 warp gates, but I mean, his supply is right now 49 to 80, excuse me. So this attack is going to be here at any moment. He's continuing to get out Roaches, and it does look like the force field will trap that. He will be able to get some of these Zerglings.
And they slip out. This must be terrifying to be guy with name right now. This feels a lot like the movie Predator. He just sees them moving around in the shadows on the outskirts, but he just can't quite seem to plant the kill.
And the Roaches now are outside the front door. They are just waiting maybe for more reinforcing Roaches. This is going to be a lot here. Now, if the Protoss can hold, he'll be in pretty okay shape as long as he doesn't take severe losses at the expansion. And he's only got 2 Stalkers here, Sean. It's going to be difficult for him to force down the Roaches, but he will have a lot of force fields to delay those Zerglings as long as possible. One more warp gate is going to be on the way, but I don't know if it's going to be in time. This is going to be a pretty massive attack, and it should commence at any second, I would imagine.
And here come the Roaches in from the right side. The open field has yet another entrance, and Tyr's using it to completely decimate the right side of this Nexus. We see guy with name trying to rush up to respond to sentries, throwing up a Guardian Shield, but now all the Roaches. It looks like someone disconnected from the game in a nanosecond. And the action is back, and we see more Roaches trying to swing, and the cannon has fallen. The Google Zerg doing massive damage to the Protoss Natural.
Oh, absolutely. The other cannon is doing quite a bit of damage here, but the probes are going to be pulled off the line here. You can see he's making a wall with those probes. He's not attacking them, trying to protect those units with the probes as they slowly work their way back inside the main base, continuing to use force fields here. That's why the Stalker is able to do so much damage here, and he needs to make sure to keep warping in additional units here, Sean. He does have about 20 Zerglings on the way. 10 just spawned with 10 more going to be reinforcing. It does look like he has held for now.
A great defense by the Amazon Tassi. Now, a classic rule that many Zergs follow is once you've begun the all-in, you will never stop ever, no matter what. And we see more Zerglings and Roaches now streaming into the front, and guy with name throwing down some more nice force fields. The Roaches continue to be left behind a little bit, dealing a good amount of damage. The Stalkers are trapped by their own force fields.
Yeah, not going to be able to give or chase them down right there through the center. Roach is very slow. They don't have that speed increase quite yet. However, it does look like Tyr is going to be securing that third base. He does have his lair nearly completed here. So, Sean, would you say that that attack was worth it for the Zerg, or is he going to have a difficult time recovering from this?
You know, it was a very nicely timed attack because Tyr, though he didn't manage to break down the front, is getting a lot of that vital tech up. His lair is almost done, and his third has just now finished. We see more Zerglings streaming down, but we do see the double Evo chamber. 6 drones now in production in the main of Guy with Name. He has only 4 gateways, a robo facility coming. It looks like Guy with Name is going to be quite passive for a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I've been watching the production. Oh, is he going to be passive? It looks like he's going to try and run in here to attack, but the force fields are going to trap that poor stalker out there. He says, hey, guys, what about me? That's okay, though. It's going to be worth it as his expansion is going to stand. The roach speed is just now starting. He's continuing to produce roaches. I've been keeping a close eye on that production tab, Sean, and there hasn't been that many wave of drones. So this is why he has so many ground units that the Protoss can hold on. It's going to be good. He has put those Zerglings on hold position to kill those working probes so that they do not engage the Protoss army. No force field was utilized to trap him, though.
Tyr never, ever stops attacking no matter what, continuing to make more roaches. And in the main, we see roach speed. We see, +1 missile attack, and queued behind it was the carapace that was meant for you.
Just go ahead and cancel it for him there, Sean, and drag it over. And unfortunately, that armor upgrade is not going to be here for quite some time. And he is now breaking down those rocks to that third base. Just makes it easier to defend there. Sean, can we look at the units tab? I'm just curious how many workers we have for both these players. 48 to 57. Is that as far ahead as a Zerg player wants to be, or should that be a bigger number?
Well, Husky, I hope that's a rhetorical question because he wants to have max 200 drones.
That is true.
That's the way Zerg wants to play. And then you can build 200 spine crawlers, build an army, cancel them, and go right back to mining again with.
You know what? I learned that from Sai. He is so good at that. Now we do have some more stalkers warping in here. The supply counts are getting a little bit closer together, and the important thing to note is that since roaches take up so much of that supply, that this Protoss army is going to be very scary once it decides to move out, especially adding on those 3 additional gateways. They should be done here any moment. If he is able to get Blink with this army, it's going to be difficult for just pure roach to defeat this, especially if the upgrades are going to be identical. And at this point, though, I think our Protoss players just going to have to sit back for a little bit and look at this. Our Zerg player looking to secure that high yield expansion. Is this going to be a good time for that?
Oh yeah, it's very, very juicy time to get a gold. As a Zerg player, you have your 3 bases up and running fully, 61 drones out on the field. I will say, though, I'm very impressed with the Amazoni Tassi's ability to get that huge amount of workers up despite that big pressure that was coming up. That's a gigantic army of stalkers, and oh yes, my favorite unit to do an impersonation of, Husky. I would do it today, but I broke my ankle in a go-kart accident.
I was going to say, man, I was hoping we could see that today. Unfortunately, we don't want you breaking your other ankle while you attempt it, but this is a lot of stalkers now. And does he have Blink? Can you click on one of those? I know he does not have Blink, which Blink is infinitely more effective versus roaches if you're just with a mass stalker. However, he does have Colossus tech on the way. If he's able to get the thermal lance, it can be pretty darn effective. He finally has switched over that armor upgrade and an infestation pit for the always fun, I'm assuming, fungal growth.
And I will say, I mean, a lot of Zergs were saying how terrible it was to be maxed on roaches, to have all your supply devoted to those units.
Right.
That seems so ineffective against any late-game Protoss army, but nowadays we're seeing Zergs get a couple of infestors at the end, and roaches are right back to the imbalanced state they were at in beta.
And here's the tunneling claws right now, but it's not quite done yet, so there's not going to be any burrow. He's running directly up here, trying to do as much damage as possible. The Zerglings in there as well. The force fields do need to be utilized, and this is where Blink would be amazing. Unfortunately, he doesn't quite have it here, so he's forced to micro as best he can. The Immortal able to do quite a bit of damage, but there's only 1 Immortal in that army, Sean. He has held now, but the upgrades for the roaches are starting to become extremely effective. He has them all now, and the +1 armor going to be done, but it looks like the attack is going to continue here. He is on the creep, running directly into that army. This is where you need Blink. Unfortunately, he does not have it, so this army is having a very difficult time getting away.
Tyr continuing his all-in at the 17-minute mark, unleashing a stream of acid saliva, taking down the Immortal, and now Guy with Name, the Amazoni Tassi, trying to defend. He's trying to run and shoot, but it looks like, come on, WTF, get out. Looks like there was someone lighting at this point in the game, but can he manage to hold on without the lag? The massive amount of roaches from Tyr seems to be too much for the Amazoni Tassi to deal with.
I think you're right, Sean. 160 supply now to a mere 70 of our Protoss. His expansion is now going down. He's trying to warp in more stalkers here. These stalkers do have the +1 attack, so if he can keep them away from the roaches, then he will be able to push this out, which it looks like that's exactly what he's going to do here. Now, I don't think our Zerg player's completely given up quite yet. He has 16 more roaches on the way. He's already started +2/+2. He has the Hive Tech on the way as well, Sean. So he is definitely sitting in a pretty good spot. And you got to remember, he can take that high yield expansion at any time he wants.
A lot of roaches for Tyr, now burrowing, regaining maximum health. Apparently it's very snugly underground, not going to unburrow and engage in battle quite yet. A couple of roaches missed their bus and arrived, and Well,
got killed, Sean,
well,
as
killed.
usually happens there when you miss the bus. Now, his third expansion for the Protoss player is up, but I wouldn't quite call that running, as there is one probe, and
there's one
he's all by
probe, and there's a
himself.
big mess in aisle 5.
Yeah, he's got to
do a
clean
little
that
bit of
up.
cleanup. And we see that in the main, the Colossus is coming. Oh, wow, a lot of people get bummed out by Colossi, it appears. Must be a maximum amount of Zerg players in the audience today. We see the tier now having a massive Roach force. Does he have anything else? And I think the answer is going to be no, Husky.
Yeah, that's all he needs right now. It looks like Sean almost 100 supply ahead. Here's the Colossus. There is no thermal lance, and that Colossus is not going to have fun time. He says, hey, what's going on here? Although he is going to survive for a little bit. The Stalker's getting completely surrounded, but there is no flank, and there is going to be the good game, Sean.
And it looks like Google takes the lead in the fourth place match. They are currently up 1-0 against Amazon.
What is this a best of?
It is a best of 7 for any of you tuning in.
Yes. So that means a lot of games here, Sean.
People maximally excited for that. Now, for any of you wondering what happened in the weeks leading up to this, go to ahgl.tv to get not just the updates, but the cast done by me, by Husky, by Total Biscuit, by Dignity, by Anaris.
Everyone in the StarCraft community, man. That is what I love about the HGL.